You already know that feeling, that tight, burning sensation in your chest. It shows up when someone else gets what you wanted. It shows up when your partner laughs a little too hard with someone else. It shows up even when you don't want it to, and that's what makes it so scary. Jealousy is one of the most powerful emotions the human mind can create, and honestly, most people think it's just about insecurity or weakness, but psychology tells a completely different story about where it really comes from. This emotion is ancient. It's been wired into your brain for thousands of years, and the craziest part is, you don't even realize how deep it runs inside you. Most people spend their whole lives feeling jealous without ever understanding why, and that's exactly what we're about to break open today. By the end of this video, you're gonna see jealousy in a way you never have before. You're gonna understand something about your own mind that most people never figure out. Trust me, what's coming next is going to feel very personal to you. If your mind fascinates you and you want to understand how it really works, hit subscribe on ThoughtCraft right now, because the deeper we go into this video, the more you're going to recognize yourself. This channel exists for people who actually want to understand the psychology behind their own feelings, so subscribe, because what's coming next might genuinely shift how you see yourself. Let's start with something most people completely miss about jealousy. Jealousy is not one emotion. It's actually a cocktail of several emotions at once. You've got fear, anger, sadness, and shame all hitting you at the same time. That's why jealousy feels so overwhelming and so hard to control. Your nervous system is processing multiple emotional signals simultaneously, and that internal chaos makes you act in ways you later regret. Psychologists call this an emotional flooding state, and it's very real. When you're flooded like that, your rational brain literally goes offline. You say things you don't mean, you assume the worst, and you react fast. And here's the part most people don't notice. Jealousy always starts before the thought. The feeling hits your body first. Your chest tightens, your stomach drops. Your brain catches up a few seconds later and tries to explain the feeling. So the story you tell yourself about why you're jealous, that comes after. That means most of the time, you're not even jealous for the reason you think. This is where it gets really interesting, because your brain is making up a story. It takes that raw emotional signal and wraps a narrative around it. And that narrative is almost always shaped by your past experiences and old wounds. Honestly, the person you're jealous of often has nothing to do with your actual pain. They're just the trigger, not the real source. The real source is something much older and much deeper inside you. Psychologists have a concept called the jealousy prototype, and it's fascinating. Research shows that every person has a specific jealousy pattern formed in childhood. The way you experienced love, attention, and competition as a kid shapes everything. If you grew up feeling like love was conditional or limited, jealousy hits harder. If someone else getting attention as a child meant you got less, that got locked in. Your brain learned early that someone else's gain could mean your loss. And now as an adult, that old fear gets triggered in completely unrelated situations. You see a friend get promoted and something tightens inside you. You don't even consciously wish them harm, but the feeling still shows up. That's not a character flaw. That's your nervous system running old programming. And this is where it gets really interesting. Jealousy is actually a signal. Most people treat jealousy like an enemy, something to suppress or be ashamed of. But psychology says jealousy is your subconscious pointing at something important. It's highlighting something you deeply desire but don't feel safe enough to want openly. When you feel jealous of someone's confidence, that's your mind saying you want that too. When you feel jealous of someone's relationship, that's your heart identifying an unmet need. Jealousy is basically your inner compass showing you your own hidden desires. The emotion isn't the problem. Ignoring the message is the problem. Most people shut down the jealousy without ever reading what it's trying to tell them. And because of that, they stay stuck in the same patterns for years. But here's the part most people don't notice. Jealousy and envy are not the same thing. Envy is when someone has something you want and you don't have it. Jealousy is when you're afraid of losing something you already have. That distinction is actually massive when you understand what it means psychologically. Envy says, I want what they have. Jealousy says, I'm terrified of losing what's mine. So jealousy is deeply connected to attachment and to your fear of abandonment. This is why romantic jealousy feels so visceral and so threatening to your identity. Because in relationships, what's at stake isn't just a person, it's your sense of safety. It's the fear that if you lose this person, something about you won't survive. And this is where it gets really interesting. Psychology links jealousy to self-worth. Research from Dr. Robert Leahy shows jealous people often hold core beliefs about being replaceable. Deep down, there's a voice that says, I'm not enough, someone better will take my place. And jealousy is that voice screaming loudly every time a threat appears. Honestly, this is heartbreaking when you really sit with it, because most jealous behavior is just a terrified inner child trying to hold on. It's not about controlling someone else, it's about desperately managing internal fear. That fear is so powerful, it can make rational, loving people act completely irrational. It can make you check your partner's phone, isolate them, or push them away entirely. And the tragic irony is jealousy behavior usually creates the very outcome you fear. Trust me, this next part is going to make you rethink how you see jealousy in others. Psychologists have found that people with high jealousy also have lower emotional granularity. Emotional granularity means your ability to name and identify your feelings precisely. When you can't name what you're feeling, the brain defaults to defensive reactions. So the more you develop emotional vocabulary, the less intense your jealousy becomes. That's not just theory, it's been tested and measured in real psychological studies. People who journaled about their emotions regularly showed measurable reductions in jealous reactions. This is crazy when you think about it. Words literally calm your nervous system down. Naming the emotion gives your prefrontal cortex something to hold on to, and once your rational brain is back online, you can actually respond instead of react. But here's the part most people don't notice. Social media is making this worse. Your brain was not designed for the kind of constant social comparison that apps force on you. Every scroll is your primitive brain scanning for social threats and status differences, and that ancient jealousy circuit fires constantly because it thinks survival is on the line. You see someone's vacation, their body, their relationship, their success, and the signal fires. It doesn't matter that you logically know social media is a highlight reel. Your emotional brain doesn't process logic. It processes threat and reward signals. This is why you can feel simultaneously happy for someone and deeply unsettled by them. Both reactions are real, they're just coming from different parts of your brain. And this is where it gets really interesting. The awareness itself can break the pattern. When you catch yourself mid-jealousy and name exactly what you're feeling, something shifts. You stop being the emotion and you start being the observer of the emotion. That space between stimulus and response is where your real freedom lives. Psychologists call this metacognition, thinking about your own thinking. And it's one of the most powerful psychological tools a human being can develop. Most people never use it because no one ever taught it existed. But once you start practicing it, jealousy becomes less of a monster and more of a messenger. You can actually say, I notice I'm feeling jealous, and I'm curious about what this means. That one question, asked honestly, can unlock years of emotional confusion. Honestly, that question has changed people's lives, and it can change yours too.
So, let's land somewhere real and honest right now. Jealousy doesn't make you weak, broken, or a bad person. It makes you human, with a brain that's trying to protect something it values. The emotion itself is neutral. What matters is what you do with the signal. Every time jealousy rises, you have a choice between fear and curiosity. You can let it make you small, reactive, and controlling, or you can let it show you exactly what you care about and what you need. The most emotionally intelligent people aren't the ones who never feel jealous. They're the ones who learn to listen to jealousy without being consumed by it. And that skill, that capacity, is something you can actually build starting right now. You deserve to understand your own emotional life at this depth. You deserve a mind that works with you, not against you. If this video made you think differently about yourself, that's exactly what ThoughtCraft is here for. Subscribe right now, because every week we go this deep into the psychology of being human. Drop a comment below and tell us, what does your jealousy usually try to tell you? Because I promise you, you're not the only one who feels it. And understanding it together is how we all start to heal it.